Hello and welcome to the Zero Listeners podcast. Today I'm joined by my friend John. How are you doing today?
Good, buddy. Thanks for having me. I
Yeah,
was looking forward to doing this.
yeah. I as with everybody, I'm trying to always recount where we first met, and I know we first met playing WoW. Um,
hmm
and you played at the end of Burning Crusade, I think, and then we played a lot in Wrath. So
Yeah, I would say I didn't know you guys in BC.
yeah.
Probably joined Shatterwings in beginning of Wrath,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I would join you guys through raids and stuff
Yeah.
through the guild.
Yeah, because I always wanted to do raids, and then, yeah, I remember asking you. I think I asked you, and you said no. Do you remember Drew and Shay?
Mm, I'd have to
It
probably
was a warrior and a shaman healer.
was that their character names? I
Yeah, yeah,
assume.
yeah.
No, not really.
Mm. Those are the guys that got me into raiding, and it was like I don't know. The game always felt like so much bigger back then than it does
Yeah,
now, right?
so that would be BC.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the game was
yeah. It always felt
that,
bigger.
that was the peak.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even though there's so much more now, it still just felt bigger then.
I think it felt bigger back then too because there was more of a community. There wasn't all
Yep.
this looking for group, looking
Yeah.
for raid. You had to go to cities, trade chat,
Yep.
start groups.
Yeah.
You had to find a tank. You had to find a healer. All that.
Yeah. I always bring up too, every every server had their trade chat troll. And I couldn't even tell you, I don't read trade chat whenever I'm in the game now. I don't
Not
really
anymore.
yeah,
No,
I
I
don't
know.
you don't need to read all the stuff. And I don't, maybe that is the reason is that you just don't need to search it anymore. Or yeah, you don't need to look
Right.
for
No,
groups or
everything.
deals or anything. It's all automated.
Yeah.
Um
I I used to just sit in trade chat for
yeah, I know.
hours. Just sit in a city and not do anything and
Yeah.
just read trade chat.
And
Yeah.
nowadays it's nothing as in like it used to be.
hmm
I actually
But even
saw when I was leveling up, I actually saw a rehash just leveling up
yeah.
in Shadowlands. And I was like, holy shit, that's a name I haven't seen
Oh,
in
really?
forever.
Oh, in Shadowlands you did.
Yeah, yeah. I saw
Really?
him in Shadowlands. I'm like, that was our resident
Hmm.
trade chat troll.
Oh yeah, he was a yeah.
Douchebag.
I know he was in it. He was in and out of our guild a
He
bunch of
was,
times.
yeah. We actually did raiding and stuff like that. We did you do um when Wrath came out, it brought the achievements. Uh, so everybody wanted to kill the city leaders.
I could never really find a good
You
group
never
for
found
it.
it. See,
I might have killed one,
Re,
maybe one.
Rehash and I actually we grouped up a bunch of different times, and
No, I know he. Yeah, I know you guys
yeah,
often started groups for it.
and we did one of the first groups. We did it before Wrath came out with the achievements, and then we did it
Mm.
again when the achievements came out because there was an actual incentive to do it. And Shane did it the first time, and it was still BC, and he wasn't even max level. He didn't have a mount, so he's just running behind everybody. I'm like, going to Darnath or
Yeah,
Darnassus, and
Darnaz. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I still don't have it.
Oh
The
really? Yeah,
achievement.
I think James doesn't
No.
have it either. So yeah, it's a lot harder now. I can't. I don't even know how you would go about.
And and who do you kill? I mean, there's like a council on the
Yeah, exactly.
Iron
It
Iron
used to be
Forge.
one person per, and everybody's fucking
Yeah.
changed from every city. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know if did they update it so you have to kill the new cities. I don't think I've ever even stepped foot in Gilneas at all.
I don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know what the inside of that
Because
fucking
now,
place looks like.
well, actually, because the Worgen are actually in Darnassus, but
Oh,
because the undead blew up
oh yeah, yeah,
Gilneas.
yep. Hmm.
So yeah.
So, but
Which was,
speaking of MMOs, I thought we'd
mhm.
talk about our thoughts on the new announcement for the Final Fantasy 14 new expansion, which was uh Endwalker. That's what it
And
was.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what the fuck it was called. What do you think so far?
So
What you saw?
it looks it looks good. Like honestly, every expansion they've done so
Yeah.
far. It looks like a continuation of he was the long-haired blonde guy. He kind of came back to
Yeah.
life.
He
I
was
the name.
the antagonist of the monk expansion.
Mhm.
I forgot
It
the names of
looks
it.
yeah.
Stormblood.
Hmm. And
Um,
what was their country called? I had to look all that
Great. You're
up.
gonna throw me names. I can't think of the
I know.
expansions. I'm not gonna think of the continent we were
Yeah.
on.
Well, whatever. But yeah, it looks like he is
Antagonist again.
antagonist again. Yeah.
Well, he spoilers for anybody else, but um yeah, he like came back because Labyrinthia or whatever, however you pronounce it, like took over his body throughout
Yeah.
Shadowbringers, and then at the end
I
of
say
it,
La Brea.
La Habrea. Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
know.
it was. That's yeah. You just resubbed. I haven't played it in a while,
Mhm.
so I forgot.
The names are
The
difficult.
names are a little different on in there. I think they take pride in making the names super unpronounceable.
So yeah, he took his body back. How did it go again?
Um,
Or
I don't
La
know.
Brea was reborn.
Yeah, and then the dude like forced him out of his body when
Okay.
they got confronted. So now
Mhm.
he's back, and yeah, he killed his father. That's what it was.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the leader of the Gilnean, or not Gilnean,
Is it Garland one?
Garlean Empire. Yeah,
Garland. I really liked him in the monk expansion. You could say.
yeah, and
I thought
Stormblood.
he was Stormblood. He was
Yeah,
really good in that.
yeah, and he like just wants fucking to find a worthy opponent kind of thing. So it'll be interesting
Mhm.
to see. Yeah, because I think he shit on his dad for going with the Asians,
Right.
and
Kind of like a sign of weakness. Like,
yeah,
why do we need? We don't need
yeah,
Asians to control the world.
and now we're going to the moon. So I
I
got
see that. It's did you see the logo of it? It was like a giant spaceship,
um
like it was going towards the moon.
no, I did not. So I read a couple of things. So I knew I'm not all caught up on the patches of Shadowbringers, but
Mm-hmm.
the I do remember seeing La Habrea on no, not Eldiabus or whatever, the main one, the white Asian. He was sitting on the
Yeah.
he was on the moon, so that's where apparently Zodiark is, and they say that this is the expansion that's going to end that arc of the Hylian
Hmm.
Zodiark war kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
So
yep, go ahead.
they'll end that, and then
I have
where do
no
you
idea.
think they'll go from there? I guess you can't really
Yeah, they're going to start something
speculate.
new. They're definitely not going to just. I mean, they're still doing stuff for 11, so I can't imagine that they'll just
No.
stop doing stuff for 14. You know?
Oh no, I don't think so. I think it's been really successful.
Yeah.
The newer expansions, the reboot, and everything.
Mm-hmm. The a lot of people I saw make comparisons for what they've seen for Endwalker
Hmm.
to Final Fantasy 4. Did you play 4?
Honestly, yeah, 4 is probably one of my favorite ones. Honestly.
So they're saying like how the Hero of Light and all the trailers and everything have been, or he was like Dark Knight for a while,
That,
and now
that
he's a paladin going to the moon,
I did
kind of
see that.
like the
That Cecil was a
yeah, very
protagonist
similar to
before. Yeah,
Cecil's change into a
which is
holy knight.
which I thought that was really cool in that game. How
Yeah.
they
I didn't play for.
it's yeah yeah I guess if you ever get a chance, it's definitely worth a play.
So this kind of easily segues into just talking about RPGs, which is a topic we were gonna go into. The
Hmm.
so for like old school RPGs, I know I wanted to actually talk to you about Final Fantasy VI,
Yeah,
and because I know that you really liked 6,
yeah.
and 4 is in the same vein. I haven't tried 4. I don't even know if I have it. Is it? It might be in part of Anthology, so I might have like a copy of it on like PS1.
It probably is. It's been ported so many times.
Yeah,
Um, like you even know the characters and you haven't even played it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know some of the things that happen.
and you got the basis of the game already,
Yeah.
kind of.
I've actually tried to keep myself spoiler free from Final Fantasy VI. Like anytime it shows up, I'm like, I don't want to know
Oh,
or hear
that's
about
tough.
it.
That's tough to do.
I know some things, and I've
Yeah,
played through it. I can't, I can't bring myself to beat it. I don't know.
I know you've told me that before. It's a long game.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's a commitment.
I think it's just like how it's just so old school, and that I
Yeah.
don't have any like nostalgia tied to it.
So yeah, your nostalgia would be kind of tied to like FF7 and beyond.
Yeah, I mean,
PS1 RPGs.
I played 5 too, and I liked 5. I
Hmm.
don't know, I haven't tried to replay 5 like since I played 5 when it was I don't know,
I I
early
never played that
2000s.
one.
Um but it's still like older styled. So, and I've
See, see, to me, I think 5 is the old style with the
yeah,
classic job systems, and then 4 and 6 came out. Almost like 4 and 6 was more Americanized, to be
right.
honest. It wasn't that traditional
Mhm.
Japanese JRPGs that came out. The Final Fantasy 1, 2,
Mhm. Which I
and
beat 1, 2 and 5. And I never
yeah.
played 3 or 4, and I've tried to play and beat 6 like 3 times. And I just
Yeah. And if you don't like it, you just might not like it. I
yeah.
mean, you can't force yourself to like
Just
the game.
I'll be damned. I'll force myself to fucking like it if I need
But
to.
but I mean, it is kind of that JRPG
Mhm.
staple. It is the, I don't know, holy grail, I guess you call it, like, of all of them.
Yeah. It makes me question just the how much good games merits are tied to nostalgia. Um
Yeah.
yeah, cuz it's like back then super easy to play cuz there wasn't like alternatives, you know?
Hmm.
And the same thing like I ran into the same problem when I tried to play the first Xenogears, and all
Yeah.
I've heard is just like how amazing it is. And I like every single other Xeno game that's ever I've played and beaten, except for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and that's just because something came up and I just need to beat it. But
And that was Xenogears PS1. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yep, I do have that one. I have not played it.
no, okay. Do me a favor when you play it. Let me know how you like. I didn't dislike it. It's just
Mhm.
like really grindy, and it's like the design is I don't want to say generic, but it's like we've seen how the basis of the like that type of game has evolved to where it is now. So
Yeah.
seeing where it is with huge encounter rates and it's just not super fast. Um or
Hmm.
it's not that it's not super fast, but that it is slow to go through. Um
I think about that. I think like games today kind of ruin your
right.
they ruin your nostalgia
Yeah.
for those
Is
games
it yeah,
just
and
because games are just so graphic heavy and there's so much systems and
yeah. And yeah, I don't know so much if it's even about the graphics too. I mean, it depends on some people. Graphics do definitely matter, but I like love playing uh 8 and 16-bit games and
oh
other
yeah.
shit too. So I just when it comes to an RPG that there's just so much time, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I really am trying to like pinpoint exactly what it is and why I find it so hard to play. I would really like to hear how you think about Xenogears when if you do ever get around to playing it.
Well, I have been thinking about taking up an old game
Mm,
soon, and yeah, maybe that'll be my next one.
the
I try to do like maybe one a year or something, or two a year or something
mhm.
like that. My last one that I would have played was probably Chrono Cross.
Oh my god, I fucking love Chrono Cross. Now
Oh,
now are you gonna
it,
say what?
see, I didn't really like it.
Oh, see, there's the nostalgia part though. Like I
Yeah,
played that shit when it first came out.
right. And if you played it again, you're like, man, I just wait. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you wouldn't like it
No,
again.
I've
But
played it like 3 times. Like I played it a couple years
okay.
ago. Like I say a couple, probably like 8 years ago. I beat it
Mhm,
like 8 years
mhm.
ago. But still, that's like pretty far away, and I loved the entire time. Like the music's nostalgic for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, did you beat it?
Oh yeah, yep. I beat it.
Okay.
But yeah, the music was great. Characters were, I think there was too many of them.
There, I was gonna say, what did you think of the like 60 characters?
Right. There wasn't really any character
Right.
story or getting involved in too much of the characters. I think there's just too many. But
I can see somebody not liking Chrono Cross. I can see how that
yeah,
game could be decisive. Like it just has like the overarching story. There's all the side characters all have their own story beats, but if I remember correctly, you have to like go out of your way to like find what they are. But then it
yeah,
has kind of like that feel of if you really want to find everybody and get everybody, like that's then you end up finding all their stuff on the way.
yeah. It's one of those like completionist
Mm-hmm.
games to really. But then I could see like people like playing like, oh, I play Chrono Trigger. Like,
Yep.
oh man, this is gonna be
I, I
just as good.
I played Chrono Trigger after I played Chrono Cross,
See,
and
well, maybe that's why, or maybe that's where we're different because
yeah.
I played Trigger before
Hmm.
Cross.
But I think Chrono Trigger has a lot better, not pacing, but like it better sets you on the path of where what you're supposed to do. And I
Yeah.
think Chrono Cross is more like, by the way, there's stuff happening over at this one spot,
Mm-hmm. It
and
was
then
little,
you get control of your character. You're like, wait, where was that again? Because
yeah,
there's
a
like
little
one time you have to
disconnected.
like you have to like heal Kid, I think,
Hmm.
and you have to like get an antidote or some shit,
Oh, that's right.
and it's just
Yeah,
like you got to go somewhere, or you got to go to
yeah.
like this palace or some shit, and then that's it. And like you've never been to the palace, so you have no idea where to go. There's a lot of moments of that in like Chrono Cross, I feel. So
I did like how you could change the story. Like if you didn't give
yeah,
her the antidote, it would
there's a
put you
bunch
in
of
a
different
different
like
direction.
ways to influence how things happen in that.
And then that path would lead you to other characters
Hmm.
down the line. It's definitely a game that you could play through multiple times,
Yep.
which was pretty huge for a game like that back in the day.
Yeah.
You know,
But
you could play it multiple times and have multiple
mhm.
storylines and
So does
I think endings too, I believe.
yeah, so does Chrono Trigger though. Chrono Trigger's got like what 30 something different endings depending on
Yeah. Yep.
how you do everything. So the but yeah, I didn't play Chrono Trigger until after I played Chrono Cross. And I liked
Mhm.
Chrono Trigger. I wasn't like put off, but I do think I like Chrono Cross more because yeah, I played it and nostalgia that I have tied to it stronger.
You could say that for a lot of games though.
Yeah.
It's that first game you play first
Mm,
is your
most of the time, yeah.
maybe your favorite.
The see, I'd ask you, so what would be your favorite RPG of all time? But I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyways. So what would you say?
Um, I'm gonna have to say usually, well, my avatar is Chino,
Yeah, yeah.
so Super Mario All-Star
Yep.
RPG.
What
Or
makes that game so great in your opinion? I've never played it. I've never
it's
touched it. I've watched a friend play it like in like 1997 or so, but
yeah,
I didn't know.
it's it's everything a JRPG should be.
Hmm.
It the music is brilliant in it. The humor, it's got that Nintendo humor.
Right.
It's just the gameplay, the characters, the combat is great. It's some of the best turn-based you can play in a JRPG. The storyline is really good. It takes your favorite Nintendo Mario characters and puts them in a JRPG universe. It's
How long is it roughly?
it's probably 50, 60 hours you could have in the game.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think it's on the Switch SNES
Yeah, I
library.
think I think they got it ported over now.
If I
I
were to play that and I were to say I fucking can't even get into it, would that surprise you?
It would. It really
That would
would.
surprise you. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give it a go at some point, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say this like just be like, nope, couldn't do it. Your game
I
sucks
know.
or anything.
Yeah,
But
I know. And I don't know. There really is nothing to dislike about the game. Like right off the bat, it's just puts you right into the
right,
story.
yeah, Nate loves it too, so I can't
Yeah, yeah. There's
say
a
anything.
giant sword that pierces Mushroom Kingdom. Like how badass is that?
The because I know about trying to get people, like mine's Persona 4, and I can't get anybody to fucking play it. It
Well,
does. It has a
you got me into 5.
yeah,
I'll say that.
yeah. It was
And
fucking
and I
fantastic.
and I would say that's probably one of could be up there one of my favorites, but it is kind of that new updated JRPG.
Hmm.
I don't really like to compare Persona 5 to
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 6 just because
it's so different. There's
yeah,
dynamic. It
yeah.
grabs you. That one's definitely it's hard to compare. If you were to compare Final Fantasy 6 to Persona 5, there's definite eye candy and ear candy and fucking everything in Persona 5 that
Hmm.
there's a lot more that you have to like imagine with in 6, I think. Yeah, that's not a fair
Yeah.
comparison and different. You have to keep them separate, I think.
I mean, I always watch these JRPG top 10 lists all the time on YouTube, and
Hmm.
they'll have like the Persona 5, and then your 6, and it's hard to place them.
Yep.
And then actually, I would say also, I don't know if you played this. Skies of Arcadia was probably
I didn't
maybe my top 3.
I watched I didn't have a Dreamcast, but my
Mm.
neighbors did, and I watched them play it a bunch. And I'd say almost about 10 years back, when James and I were living together, we r- went to one of the thrift shops that are around here, and we found uh, he got a Dreamcast from there in Skies of Arcadia, and I watched him play through most of it. I don't think he finished it because the encounter rate is insanely high.
It is. It was,
Yeah,
if I remember right.
I don't know if it's like notorious for that, but I remember just watching him do a dungeon, and it was like every 3 steps was a fight.
Hmm.
So
I think it's. I think that's one of the most underrated JRPGs out there,
I think
in
yeah,
my opinion.
I think it's always held up. I think a lot of people say a lot of good things about it too.
It's up there in price now. I price a lot of those old games out now. It's over like
For
$100. The
what?
the GameCube
The
version of it.
GameCube version?
Probably Dreamcast
Skies
is
of
too.
Arcadia.
I have it.
GameCube.
I have it for GameCube.
Used on eBay, $35.
Okay.
But this one says great condition, 170. So I don't know what the difference is.
It's hard. The cases and
Uh huh.
manuals and all that.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I bought like an old game off of eBay. I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah, eBay's. It's. I don't know. I go to a lot of trade shows, and
Yeah.
the prices don't really change much.
Mm. Yeah, the last couple times, I can't remember the last time I got anything off eBay. Yeah, going to PAX, I've gotten a few things. Like I got it's a little different when it's not a disc, but like I got my copy of Mega Man 2 for
Hmm.
NES at PAX, and I've gotten a couple like PS2 games like Shadow Hearts Covenant, uh, and just some other stuff. So yeah, definitely doing it at a show where you can just be like, can I see, can I see that disc?
Oh yeah.
Definitely helps.
Yep. I I like having the physical disc too. I don't know.
No, I know. I'm with
I think
you.
Shane kind of risks me sometimes for not doing digital more, and I always try to find that physical disc of a game if it's possible,
Yeah,
just to add it to a collection.
yeah. No, I'm kind of I'm there with you. It depends on the game. Like I wish I had a physical copy of Bloodborne, but it's
Hmm.
digital. And there's not really a reason for me to get it like a physical copy of it now because it's in my digital library, and how it's on PS4, I can just bring it to PS5 because it's just,
Yeah, and I got a physical copy of Cyberpunk, and
hmm
well, we all know that was a mistake.
You still haven't even
S-
tried it, right? On the
No,
PlayStation?
I'm gonna return it, and I'm just gonna get it on PC.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
see if I might probably get a new PC fairly soon, and
Yeah,
I'm
Shane
just
said
gonna
you
look
were
at
looking to upgrade, right?
soon. Yeah, soon. Yeah,
House.
probably within the next. I like maybe this year, this spring, something like that.
Uh, whenever taxes come soon.
That yeah, kind of.
The yeah, I just got a new case for mine, but all my stuff's
I don't
pretty
want. I didn't
good.
want the experience to get ruined playing it on a crappy version of PS4
No, I feel you.
because I've been waiting for it for so long.
Hmm. And hey, they might even have a patch that's even better
But
for
that
PC.
too.
Yeah,
I
because
may even wait for a few more months.
yeah, the I know a couple people. Matt was not happy with it on PlayStation or on PC. He was complaining about it,
Hmm.
but I guess he ran into a handful of bugs. I still need to beat it, and I haven't run into many bugs at all. But my PC's not garbage, so I don't know what Matt's sitting on for his stuff.
Yeah.
I ran into a few things, but it wasn't like immersion breaking or anything.
You've liked it so far.
Yeah, yeah. I think the thing that stopped me from playing it was like Shadowlands came out, and just there's a bunch of other stuff going on. It was the holiday season, and
It was kind
I
of busy for a
it
little bit there. Yeah.
was I also just it was one of those games that I didn't want to play unless I had a lot of time to sit down and play it. I didn't just want to like I have like 40 minutes. I didn't want to just play it for 40 minutes. So if I
Yeah.
didn't have 40 minutes, I wouldn't play it. Kind of like if I didn't have like 2 hours, I wouldn't play it.
Yeah. I kind of found myself that way lately too.
Yeah. And then it put like the last couple weeks, honestly, like it's been just a funk to do anything at all.
Hmm.
It's just like, I only have this much time. Do I even want to do this or that or start a game or
That's
anything?
kind of why I resubbed to 14. Just kind of
Yeah.
pop in once in a while, do a
Hmm.
little story content.
Yeah, I
Kind
want
of
to,
got. I saw the trailer. Kind of had that itch to play it.
it's just like, this is exactly what I wanted and exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Kind
The,
of go back on it. Like, who do you think of like another class might be for that game?
so they announced Sage with the
Hmm.
floaty gun things. That's a healer. Trevor and I were talking about it actually after the raid because he was saying, "Oh, if we're not done, I'm gonna jump on 14." And him and I started the
Oh, that'd
talks,
be
so
cool.
he's playing
Yeah.
it too. He has a handful of jobs maxed out, which is really
Oh yeah.
neat. And Jess is like playing it just. So I've heard a bunch of 14, and then I was like, "Oh, there's actually supposed to be announcing the next expansion." I was
Mm.
telling Jess that, and then like the next morning, I woke up and the trailer was like
It was pretty
out.
random.
It was just up. Well, they said they were announcing it sometime
Okay.
in February, so I was ready for it. I just didn't know when. And so, but it is funny that I just happened to talk to a couple different people about it, and then it just popped. So for another class, Trevor said they thought the healer class was going to be chemist. So that would
Yeah.
have been cool, but it's not. It's Sage. Um, fuck, I'm trying to think of the other thing they
I would, if I had to guess, I would say the new one would be like some type of caster, DPS.
they have summoner, black mage, red mage is hybrid, so I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a
Kind of.
caster. I don't know what they would make though. I haven't looked up to see what people think the
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to find like a Wicca on all the
they said
jobs.
Endwalker. Let's say just job predictions. Um, But you just think of like what the other classes could be,
Hmm.
and I always think whenever I think classes that aren't in the game, I always jump to tactics. I'm just like, oh, you got like mathematician, but I guess that's kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know how you would make mathematician into a class, but let me just do.
Chemist. Yeah.
Oh,
How about
he was saying geomancer. They were saying
I
thinking,
just saw that. Yep.
yeah. So I
Is there
think
a gambler type class in the game?
a gambler.
Yeah.
No, like how would it? Give me an example of a gambler.
I guess you'd have to play Final Fantasy VI. Setzer was a gambler class. He had cards and
Uh,
kind of a lottery type system. He had dice he would use and kind of
no,
a roulette type of
I mean
TPS.
the astrologians kind of like that, just because they don't always know what they're gonna draw for
Hmm.
their stuff.
Hmm.
But geomancer,
Actually, Kate Sith. I'm
okay,
looking at it
yeah,
now. It looks like you're saying Kate Sith was a gambler type
okay,
class
yep.
too. So I guess that would be a good.
No, I'd be cool with a geomancer. I think that'd be neat. I just
Yeah,
don't know how
that
you
would
would
work.
separate that from what the white mage uses, because the white mage uses all the geo spells right now, like all the stone spells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Hmm.
You can still do some sort of fucking. They have time mage, oracle, mediator,
Time mage.
calculator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Summoner. Is there a
Well,
summoner?
yeah. There's summoner.
Okay.
Summoner, scholar are
Yeah.
they work off the same stuff.
Hmm.
And there's already a paladin, samurai, dragoon, monk,
Yep.
dancer, bard, ninja.
Yeah, they've had a lot. They got a lot of
They
games
have a
on their
lot.
board.
I'm like,
Yeah.
so I don't know where they're gonna go with it for the next class. I
That's
said,
what I like about the game. They're not afraid to add classes and take chances.
yeah, I
And that's
think.
what I think WoW comes up short.
I mean, I understand the balancing part for a while. 14 doesn't have much for PvP content, so they don't need to
Yeah.
balance it around that.
Yeah.
And they have a very strict like dungeon and queue kind of system
Mm.
in comparison, where it's just the tank DPS healer formula, which is great. It works for what it works for, but also just like classes don't have different specs. So if you play a gunbreaker, you are a tank. You can't do anything else. So it's very
Hmm.
restrictive in that sense. So you don't have other things to like balance. Because you look at WoW and it probably has just as much or maybe a few less classes, but then you have PvP and just about three specs per class. So
Yeah. And actually, I think they did it right when they introduced like Demon Hunter. They just did one DPS, one tank.
yeah,
They didn't have to feel the need to throw in a third one,
yeah.
which is I think what they're gonna do from here on out
Well, it's
if
hard
they add
because then
more.
if you add more, you can't take away stuff like
Yeah.
even with the even with classes that are strictly just one role, like you take rogue
Yeah.
for example, and if you take away any of the three, assassin, outlaw, or subtlety, like somebody's gonna be very disappointed.
Well,
Because
I know warlocks were butthurt when like demon hunters took metamorphosis and all that,
mm-hmm.
and took like a lot of their abilities from
Yeah,
warlocks, and they turned it into the demon hunter class.
yeah, I had to adapt a shit ton when they completely did combat into outlaw. Like I like it, thankfully, but
Mm.
it's definitely was definitely a shift.
Yeah.
Um, so besides, this is just a small pivot, but besides uh Chrono Cross, what are some of the other older ones that you played?
Oh boy. Breath. I'm a huge Breath of the Fire
Really? I've never played
fan.
any of the Breath of Fire games. I remember seeing like either 3 or 4 in like old gaming magazines and being like, that shit looks fucking dope. But I
Yeah,
never got
they're
to play it.
they're
Hmm.
pretty basic JRPGs, but they got really like colorful characters, pretty good stories. I have one, two, three, four, five of them. I think no,
Oh,
four.
wow. There's only like 6 or so. Or I could
Yeah,
completely be wrong.
it had. Yeah, there's like six or seven, but one got a phone game
Uh,
that they monetized, and
hmm
it just split the community, and they were just
I I feel you.
ticked off.
Um, Star Ocean. Have you played any of these Star Ocean games?
No, I have them. I know
Oh,
you've been telling me to play them.
yeah, I fucking love Star Ocean. But that's also a niche thing too. I really like Star Ocean too, but
Hmm.
that's the like intro is like 2.5 hours of fucking nothing.
Yeah,
And I understand how that can be, and I think that's kind of Persona 4's issue too, is it can be a slow start. But Star Ocean, um, 3 was really decisive on how it end, or divisive on how it ended. I won't ruin it for you since you haven't played it, but
right.
and 4 was pretty mediocre, and then 5 that came out for PS4 with the dumbest name. It was like Integrity and Faithlessness or some shit
Yeah,
like that. It's
I, I,
really it's a
I do
really
remember it. Yeah,
really bad name.
yeah.
Um, was not great. They tried this so they tried to do this thing that there was no cutscenes pretty much, so you could like move around and it was dynamic, so it was however you wanted. But what it really made it feel like was that people were just talking while you walked around, and like your
Uh huh.
party would stop and they would start talking to each other and you were just walking around. It felt like insert cutscene here kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
But there was like no battle encounters. They were just trying to make it so that you were always just in control. But how it felt was that it was like, oh, uh, this is where the budget should be, but they removed it. And I think a lot of it was that there was a really small budget for the game too. So it ended
Yeah.
up, it was really fun because the combat's really fun. Did you ever play any of the Tales games?
I've wanted to get into
Okay,
them.
well, they
I,
have,
I do have a couple of
yeah,
them.
they have a very similar combat feel. Um,
Hmm.
but it's really nice just to be able to like run around and do it,
Yeah.
do all the skills on the fly.
I feel like
So
I'm that old school turn-based combat. That's my go-to.
no, I can definitely feel it. It depends on how it is, like how I'm feeling. Sometimes I just want to fucking lay back and I don't want to be rushed or anything.
Hmm.
And but Star Ocean 5 didn't do great, and then they came out with like a mobile game,
Yeah.
and it wasn't
I feel like
bad. I tried it for a little bit, but then it's just how every other phone game is. I'm like, I'm not pumping money into you, so
you're right. I feel like that's kind of the coffin when it goes to mobile.
I don't know.
Unfortunately,
Well,
like their
Fire.
last ditch effort at just trying to squeeze a little more money out of the
I think there is a
series.
market. Like, I think it's just cultures. I think gotcha games are huge in certain niche
Yeah.
communities. And I've played some that have come out. Like I said, I don't pump any money into it. I'm like, I am not doing that. I'll play it here and there. I played like the Fire Emblem one, Fire Emblem Heroes.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty fun. I could play some Fire Emblem while I was taking a poop.
Yeah. Yeah.
and and then the Switch came out, and I'm like, oh, I can play some Fire Emblem while I poop. And then,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah,
like
in
they
high
came,
def.
yeah, exactly. I ain't never seen this kind of Fire Emblem on the shitter before.
And I thought, no.
but but yeah, then Fire Emblem came out, so it definitely wasn't like the sign that they were in trouble. I think it's just a money grab. Like there's a Final Fantasy one out that apparently, I don't know, I see ads for it all the fucking time. The War of
Yeah, that's
Braves or
been
something like that. I don't know.
that's been pretty ongoing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those got such huge followings.
Yeah.
The Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy.
Yep. And then there's just a lot of like AFK type games, which I don't understand at all.
See it. I've never gotten into phone games. I just can't.
Yeah, there's been sometimes at PAX, and it's just like, vendors will be like, hey, check this out or whatever. They'll like outreach their hand and hand you like their flyer or their card or something like that, and then just try to pitch their stuff. And I've had some people just like pitch like AFK phone apps, and I'm just like, no, sorry, goodbye.
Right? They're just getting money for your idle time on the phone.
But
Not like around
there's
the game itself.
there's a market for it somewhere.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
like them.
Well, China is all phone now, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Like Diablo is a huge China market in that, and that's going to be a phone game.
Well, I don't know. I think they've had issues with the huge backlash with Diablo Immortal.
Oh, I know they have, yeah.
I don't even...
We still haven't seen it. We haven't seen any info on it.
I think they might have scrapped it. I'm not sure.
Either that or they're doing a 180 on the project and changing it more towards a Western audience.
Diablo Immortal does not have an official release date. It is just coming soon.
And that was years ago now. When they released it.
I want to say it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But then they have Diablo 4, and that's supposed to...
I think 4 is going to come out before Immortal. I honestly
wouldn't be surprised.
And maybe that's why. Maybe they've...
That's probably the best strategy, though. I remember...
Right. Maybe they've put more of their team onto 4.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, it turns out everybody hates this just phone-only game for our giant IP that everybody's waiting on.
Yeah. Yep.
Imagine waiting for an announcement for a game that you really love, and then it's just something like phone.
It especially the Diablo 2 community, because they've been around since the late 90s or whenever the game came out. That was just a freaking dagger in the back when they announced that a PC. One of the iconic PC games that was out.
I think it would have not been so bad if they didn't hype it up like it was the next Diablo,
and that's what they did.
If they already showed like, hey, we're doing Diablo 4, it's in development. By the way, we're also going to be releasing this phone Diablo game.
That's all people wanted.
Yeah, I think I think that
people... or even a Diablo 2 remaster, like, hey, we're gonna throw out this remaster.
I don't know about Blizzard and remasters now since the fucking Warcraft 3.
Well, they've hired people for the remaster of it. They just announced it, I think.
Good. Well, hopefully it's not like Warcraft 3 was, and the shitstorm that was. Because I think the biggest thing too with the Warcraft 3 Reforged was that they took off the original Warcraft 3. Like, you cannot play Warcraft 3. Like, and if you updated it or if you had it digitally, you can't play the original. It's just Reforged now. So that's kind of a kick in the teeth for people. So hopefully they don't fuck up Diablo 2 and then take off the original Diablo 2, because I think that would piss people off.
That's probably one of my favorite games of all time was the old Diablos. That's what got me into PC gaming. Was, and when they announced Diablo 3, I was like, oh man, I was just so pumped, and I can't wait. And then it was such a letdown at launch.
Yeah.
I bought a collector's edition and everything for it.
What came with the collector's edition for D3?
A really cool... It was a nice collector's edition. It had the art book, music.
I think Blizzard always has nice collector's editions.
Yeah.
I got the StarCraft 2 one, and it was really nice. It had an art book and music and everything. It was really nice.
It came with a really cool... I still have it on my desk here. It was a USB stick. It was a Mephisto Soulstone.
Okay, so...
And, it was stuck into, like... I think this is Bale's head, maybe, or Diablo's head. It's a little plastic cast, little holder. It's really
sweet,
neat.
Though. Yeah, the StarCraft one came with Jim Raynor's dog tag as a USB port.
Okay, yeah,
and
so they
like
did
you,
something
yeah.
similar.
So that's really cool. Um,
But yeah, Blizzard nails the collector's
yeah.
editions.
Did you end up playing Diablo 3 after they did all the fixes, or have you just
A little bit. I play like Reaper of Souls.
okay?
Was their last.
Did you beat Reaper of Souls?
Yeah,
Okay,
it was good. It was a
it
good
was
kind of.
better. Yeah,
They almost rebooted the game for that expansion.
yeah.
I
It's
know. I know.
definitely
James got really into it.
yeah. We played it a handful of times, and I definitely like what they did. I also didn't have the huge hate that I had. Yeah, that a lot of people felt when it first launched too.
And that kind of.
But I think I also knew
I had
what.
I had so much hate.
Yeah,
It
I think
kind
I
of
knew what I
ruined
was
the
getting
rest of
into because I played
it.
it at PAX. Like when they first announced it, and they're like, "Oh, we got like a couple copies." And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
We stood around, and yeah, I got to play it then, and so I think I knew what I was getting into.
yeah.
Um, and
Diablo 3 was a completely different game, to
yeah,
be honest.
I think
And, and that's what alienated the fan base
the way the
from
skills work and everything like that is, and how the classes just are, I think is the biggest detractor for a lot of people. And well, the loot was really fucked when the game first
yeah.
launched too.
The auction in the
And
real
the
money
auction
auction house.
house. Yep.
Remember that? Really? You put a auction house in a loot type game? It's just
I made like $30 on the auction house
did you?
though. Yeah. I found it like I don't remember what it was, but I made a little bit off the auction house.
There was
So
a
I
story
can't
like
knock it too bad.
yeah, there were stories like people selling items for like thousands of dollars, like actually
Hmm.
making money off it. But
But loot was an issue too, and I think that's
yeah,
drove that up.
and I remember watching interviews of like the developers and the game director. They were just so smug and how they thought their game was the right way to go,
Hmm.
and they didn't want to make changes and just the arrogance, and they just angered the community so much.
Hmm. I watched a documentary-esque video a
Hmm.
couple months back, and it was just like the history of microtransactions and how it's progressively got worse to the point that where we're at now. And hopefully I think we're starting to see kind of more of a decline of it. um
Because the
yeah,
gaming community is
because they
starting to.
pushed it they pushed it literally to the limit of
Mm.
having no game, and like Star Wars, what was it, Battlefront 2, and just
Yeah.
having loot boxes. um
Well, I think it was getting to the point where they were designing games around
yeah,
that monetization.
and it's still in some games, but I think
Hmm.
that we got to the point that developers are seeing, oh, hey, look, our games aren't doing as well as they could be when we just made good games. So hopefully the
Yeah,
trend picks up. I think we're gonna see an upswing. Maybe I'm just being hopeful, but
yeah, and I'm totally fine with cosmetic things,
yeah.
to make your experience
Hmm.
funner. And if developers need a little more money for their games, just because the development costs are
Yeah.
literally millions, hundreds of millions.
Hmm. It's hard to see certain uh I kind of talked on this one on my solo podcast last week, when just the not resurgence, but like the popularity of early access being so prevalent too. um that they're
Yeah,
just people are just trying to get money for their stuff. And sometimes
yeah,
early access is great if you know the game's going to come out and be good quality.
right.
um on the monetization part, I know you're not a huge fighting game fan, but a huge thing in a lot of fighting games, it's like, here's our game, also this is going to be the first DLC characters, and it's just the norm now. It's like
Yeah.
what to expect now. It's just like, okay, they're announcing and they're going to have DLC,
Hmm.
planned DLC. And I
Yep.
remember, fuck, what was the game? I just said I remember and I forgot, but there was a game. Fuck, there was a fighting game that had DLC characters on the fucking disc because they were ready, and then when the DLC was quote unquote released, you just got like a programming code that you downloaded that just like unlocked your access to
Yeah.
play those characters. And that is scummy.
That would infuriate me. Yeah.
And well, it was not good when that happened. So,
Yeah.
but now it's just like Guilty Gear's coming out, and they're like, if you pre-order now, you can get the season pass, and it's gonna have 5 extra characters. And it's just
Hmm.
that's what you expect. You can't really say anything against it because
Yeah, I mean, I
they,
could kind of see what they're doing. They're
yeah.
trying to add more content to the game they make.
Well, yeah. You go into one camp and you say, uh, I just want to play the game when all the characters are released. Well, then you're
Yeah.
gonna have to wait however longer, and then they're still gonna have more characters that they're gonna want to release after that. It's just like that's how it
Yeah.
is. It's just that's what the development is. So
Well, it's Smash. Smash is the
exactly,
same way
Smash is
right
the
now.
exact same thing. It's just that's how fighting games are,
Hmm.
but it's different when you have games that just have the monetization just built into it. I guess it's just the difference I was trying to say of how you have loot boxes and other shit that you have to unlock
It's
or pay to unlock stuff that's already technically in the game, whereas it's getting to be normal for games to just be like, okay, here's the season's pass, we're gonna have new stuff when
yeah. I mean, see that's like a whole other topic is
yeah,
game monetization.
yeah.
You hear rumors now, PS5 games and Xbox games being $80 plus now
Well, I
for a
think
base game.
they're $70 right now. Yeah, depending on the
Are they
game.
70?
Yep.
Okay. And maybe those little transactions kind of bring the cost of that base game down.
You would hope, but yeah,
When we start seeing $70, $80 games, and they're tacking on these little addition
yeah, that's when it's not right.
micros, then I hope it doesn't go that way in future. But
It's gonna.
I know games are just so costly to make now.
Yep.
You know,
The back in the day when I say back in the day, but Final Fantasy VII came out in what 1996, something like
hmm
that. I want to say. And 8 came out in like 1998 or
couple
1999, and
years
then
later, yeah.
9 came out in 2000, and
hmm
then 10 came out in like 2001.
Yeah,
And yeah, the games aren't the graphic powerhouses that we have now, but I think just the what it takes to develop the stuff that we get now is just so much more demanding,
yeah.
and it just takes forever, and yeah, it's going to
Well,
cost more money.
look at the teams they put together for one AAA game now. It's
Yeah.
literally hundreds of people. When a lot of these JRPGs back in the day were teams of
Yep.
a dozen people,
Hmm.
not even.
But you could have one person do so much more work because of it.
hmm hmm
You don't have uh, a team of 3 people working to build fucking the streets of a single like town.
Yeah.
And then a month to like build the buildings, or I don't that's a gross exaggeration of or
Oh, right. Yeah.
understatement. I don't know how long it takes to do any of that stuff, but
hmm
it just takes a lot. The I would really recommend you watch the No Clip documentary for the making of Hades.
hmm
uh it's really neat because Supergiant Games isn't huge. They have like 20 something people,
Yeah.
and it goes through all of it's like a 6-part documentary. It's all on YouTube, and that's No Clip, by the way, for anybody interested on that. No Clip, Hades, and it goes through their entire development cycle. And the last part just came out like a couple days ago, just within the last week. And they talk about like how they went to early access, and I mean they won a bunch of Game of the Year awards, and being such a small studio and having to work through the pandemic, and it's very interesting. It's a
Yeah.
very interesting watch. You might have actually seen. Did you ever see the No Clip documentary for 14?
Yeah. I probably have.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that one that they go through and how originally launched and how Yoshida took it over and everything up to
Yeah.
the release of 2.0.
Yeah, they literally
Yeah.
redid the whole game.
So if you watched a documentary about it, that was like 2 or 3 parts. That was the no clip documentary. They do a lot of really neat ones. So the Hades one definitely shows how it's like a smaller team working through it, and then it's also very unique to see them go through working at home through the pandemic. So very neat,
Yeah,
even if you're not into
yeah.
Hades. But it does show like you can do smaller things, but not saying Hades is not fucking gorgeous, because that is a good looking game, but it's not 4K 80,000 polygon fucking
Final Fantasy type game.
cyberpunk
Yeah,
titties
cyberpunk.
in your face. Like there's
Yeah.
there's more polygons on them titties than there are in the entire fucking screen on any given moment of Hades.
And that nipple.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure there's a lot more of that, but completely different art styles for that. But you could do more. You could get more out of 2D, but then it depends on how many fucking frames you put in shit. It's different. Like the new Guilty Gear is all 3D because it's easier to animate that than it is to animate frame by frame data. So depends on how detailed it is, but still, smaller teams can still get stuff done, but it just takes for goddamn ever. Like think of how long it took for Final Fantasy 13, 15, and 7 remake to come out. Maybe it's just Square. Maybe when I think of long development times, I just think of Square.
It is kind of a Square thing.
Well,
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
looking at you.
See, they just notoriously take a long time. Back in the day when I was a kid, and every Christmas there was a new Final Fantasy to play.
Yeah, they pumped them out.
Yeah, and they were good. Like, you can't say shit about. Some people will give 8 shit, but I liked 8. You still haven't played it, right?
I have not. No,
I like 8.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't, but I just never got to that one.
Super good.
And I actually liked. Lightning. I liked 13.
Ugh. I played through all of 13. I didn't play through the sequels.
I did. I have the sequels.
Yeah.
I tried starting one of them and just didn't finish it. But I like the turn-based system.
Yeah, the combat in 13 was fun. The combat in 13 was fun.
The story was completely convoluted.
Yeah, the story wasn't good. I think my biggest thing with 13 was that it was hallway simulator, and it was linear. Yeah, I mean,
that was most people's complaints.
Some people have made the argument that 7 remake is just a more defined 13 in the game design, and you know what? It's actually not. Yeah. I like when I heard that, and I like thought about how all the maps in 13 and 7 are actually kind of pretty just straightforward, but they have like more branching paths, more things to explore. Whereas in 13 it was like maybe you had like a corner you can explore, but you already see on the mini map that it's like a dead end. So there's an item over here.
Yeah, I feel like it was a game. It was stuck in that linear JRPG traditional path, but it wanted to be the futuristic JRPG.
It wouldn't have been so bad if it wasn't the first 30 hours. It's just hold forward, fight, hold forward, fight.
Pretty much, yeah.
That story was just...
Yeah, I didn't mind it though. I thought it was...
I beat it. I did end up beating it. Like I said, the combat was super fun. I did like the combat in 13.
Combat was good. There were some neat worlds, good music.
Yeah. And it was cool that it did eventually open up. I think it just was way too late. Like by the time it opens up, it's 30 hours. I'm like, I just want to beat this game. I just want to be done.
Yeah.
Like, here's a bunch of side quests you could do. I'm like, no, I just want to beat this game.
Yeah, it was pretty easy too, honestly.
Yeah. Because there wasn't like a huge divergence of how you built the characters. Like I think there was a couple different ways, but it really they all kind of built how they built. So
did you like 10 then? Did you play that one?
I did like 10. Yeah, I I'm infamous for shitting on 10, but
Yeah.
I did like 10 when I played it. Yes,
Mm.
I just think the story. Spoiler for Final Fantasy 10, fucking 20 years later, but how Titus was just a dream, I think was dumb. Like when
Yeah,
that when
that
that
was
when that happened, I'm just like, that's fucking stupid. Like,
it was yeah, that was a letdown.
yeah, I did enjoy
Now
playing it,
now there
but
was sequels to that. I don't you probably didn't play
10
that.
2,
I
I
don't know if that
tried.
did that explain the whole dream thing? Didn't it
I
actually
didn't beat it. I don't know.
I don't know if they tried making Titus an actual
I,
person in those games. I don't remember.
no, I think
I didn't
Eunice
play it.
chasing the ghost of somebody that's been dead for 1,000 years.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. That just kind of, I didn't like how that ended,
Yeah.
and I thought it was
Yep,
dumb.
it was yeah.
And I think that kind of ruined my thought of it. 10 was pretty, if I remember correctly, I was a little bummed out when I played it way back when because it was so linear, and I was expecting like there was no like open world map. It was just kind of like you go here, you go here, you go here, and then like towards the end you could pick like
Yeah.
different areas to go to, but they were just like these maps that you went to, uh, which was just a divergent like difference in
Mhm.
the series. 12 did that
Mhm.
too. Um,
Uh 12 did, but there was some open world
yeah,
aspect actually to 12.
I need to go back and beat 12. I got really far in uh on the PS2 with it, but then I like there was a lot of backtracking and the world was
I
fucking huge. And I remember like going down a dungeon and then coming they're like, all right, now you gotta go back to like the city. And I'm like, that's like 20 minutes of walking. Like, I think I'd
I
like
would
stop.
I
I
would recommend the
the
remaster of
remaster,
that.
yeah. I had
If
the remaster because yeah, I really wanted to
I played that a couple years ago, 2 years ago I played that, and they actually correct a lot of the
yeah.
bad things about the game.
I've heard that it's a lot smoother of an
It
experience.
is. They add like teleport to the game,
Hmm.
and there's like running now, and
Yeah, and
they
I think
really
there's like a fast forward too, like for
there
combat and
there
stuff.
was yeah there was.
So yeah, I'll definitely have to sit down and play through it too, because
And I was really surprised. I really enjoyed that one.
I did enjoy it up to the like I said, it was just like there was a lot of running and backtracking, and there wasn't, if I remember correctly, there wasn't fast travel or
Mm.
anything. This is before YouTube though, so I don't fucking remember. I could just be a dumb kid for all I know.
12 was weird. It kind of got stuck in a weird place
It,
because
yeah.
they released the online,
Hmm.
I believe first, which was 11. Um, and then they just kind of threw out 12 there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. The director that came on since 10 has made some shoddy calls, in my opinion. But I
Mhm.
also, nine's my favorite, so I also feel
Yeah.
like, oh, why don't you just do fucking something like that? And then I was like, oh, the director's gone
Mhm.
and different.
Yeah.
And I always kind of just felt that he
Was
was,
he the same guy that did 15 then?
yeah.
Okay. See, he's not on the new Final Fantasy 16,
No,
which
no, no, no. That's Yoshida for that did
right,
14, which
right,
another reason why I'm really looking forward to
which is
whatever,
a good thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever they do with 16, I think is gonna blow them out of the park.
I
So
I wouldn't be mad if the guy that did 14, a director, literally took over all the game development projects
yeah,
from
uh,
Square Enix.
I don't think he could though. Yeah,
No.
like you watch like the no clip and shit, and or if you ever see anything of that, that kid looks fucking tired every single time. It looks like he
Yeah.
works way too
Yeah.
much. That whole Japanese work ethic.
Oh, I'm sure. The guy's probably
Yeah.
endless working. But the job he did just flipping
Well,
14
yeah,
around.
in like a year and a half
Yeah.
or something like that, it wasn't a lot of time.
To what he built it is
While they
today.
patched like the old game, yeah,
Yeah.
that's he did a lot of shit. So
I mean, he fixed it and they profited off it now,
yeah, it's the they don't post the numbers and WoW doesn't either, but they're pretty much probably neck and neck. So
I did want to ask you that, like, what do you think, the numbers are comparison, I know
um,
you don't see numbers anymore.
I I think it depends on the time that you talk and you ask that question, uh, I think WoW has a steadier fan base,
Mhm. But
but
but I
and
was thinking like
I
I'm thinking like I think Final Fantasy has a better world. Um,
it, they do different things, and I think that's why what makes 14 so great is that it it never tried to be a clone or didn't really try to replicate a lot of the things because you get like the the slew of MMOs that came out that were trying to be WoW killers that
oh yeah,
were
it
trying to do this, and like
one after another they
you're just
fail.
like me and the rest of the group that we've tried I don't know how many of
Yep,
them,
yep.
and we have our fun with them, and then like we fall off.
And, and they cease to exist. Like
Yeah,
all of them are just gone.
yeah. So there's a lot that like try to replicate one thing or the other, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think that's one of the reasons why 14 stands apart so much is that it does its own thing. There really isn't like an open world that's connected maps, which actually kind of works with how they do their thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of more theme parky feel in
Mhm.
that, and like that everything is completely separated. There's a lot of aspects that I know you and I talked about this that we feel like Shadowlands ripped off Shadowbringers.
It really did.
Fucking name as well. But
Yeah.
um even looking at the newest WoW expansion and you look at Ouroboros and the four zones where they're not connected at all.
Mhm.
Like it's not like how WoW is normally of just like here's a new continent or a new island and all the zones are connected. They're all disconnected. And that's very 14-esque. Like
It is. Yeah.
here's a new expansion, here's your new city, and here are all the new zones. Nothing's like connected. You have to like there's a loading in between each of the zones. And they have but it also allows like each zone to have like their own ecosystem kind of thing.
Mhm. Well,
Um
even down to Torghast, I think they took a lot
yeah,
of
which
aspects of
is
that from the
Shadow the Damned,
tower. Was it Tower of the Damned
Tower of
or
the Damned. I like how we
something like
both
that?
like 14, but like a lot of the terminology we haven't played forever either.
Hmm.
But to be honest, they have fucking a character called Yishtola for
Yeah.
that name is just so
Yeah.
the names aren't great. Um yeah, the it's very similar to that. I mean, Torghast also is just they straight up said they wanted it to be like a roguelike, and it is more of a roguelike than it is kind of like the Tower of the Damned, because Tower of the Damned is more of a leveling thing.
Mhm.
Um,
See, I have not been in the Tower of Damned.
oh, you never done the Tower of the Damned? It's
No.
really just kind of like an endless, not endless, but it's just like a dungeon that can help you level up your
Right.
lower classes.
Yeah.
It's definitely a faster way to do it, especially if you have a group that knows what they're doing.
Mm. But
The
yeah, I mean, I know it's not fair to compare to really the two. They're both MMOs, but they're
so if,
both totally different games.
so right now, I would probably say WoW definitely has a higher sub count because the expansion just came out.
Mhm.
Um, and Yoshida for 14 has even stated though, like they they didn't structure the game for you to play it all the time. It's
Yeah.
there for you to do the content that you want, and then we'll have a new patch in 3 months for you to come back and do the new content, and then you can do that for however long, and then in another like 3 months or so we'll have another patch for you. And they've been
Yeah.
if you look at like the patches, they're always like a handful, like 3 to 4 months, but
They
between.
put
So
they put more content into a longer
yeah, but like
patch.
in like we're taking a break from raiding right now to so we're not burnt out for the next raid to come out,
Mm.
and we don't know when the fuck that's gonna be. So
I don't.
it's
Yeah, that could
it,
be months from now, honestly.
whereas in like I said, they're 14 puts out a content patch every couple months,
Mm.
even right after the release. So it's very methodical, and like I said, they don't care if you drop your sub and then only come back for the patches. Like that's how
Yeah.
their model's based up. So
Yeah.
it's definitely built differently than WoW is. And depending on when those patches for 14 drop and when WoW's inconsistent stuff comes up. I would say the sub counts would probably flip flop to one or the other depending on when the content comes out.
Yeah, I think it's very close.
Yeah.
Like you say, when new expansions come out, and
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know, 14 might have a further reach to different countries. I
Well,
don't know
absolutely. Yeah.
than WoW does.
Mm-hmm.
I know
That
I
wouldn't
know WoW
surprise me.
was. I think WoW was probably, got the China market, but
Yep. But I think 14's got a lot of like Korean and Japan.
well, even if you're in 14, you see the French. There's French servers, and
Yep.
there's all kinds of language options, and you see it all the time in chat. And
It's a shame that they're so different or that they're so divisive. Sometimes you don't see a lot of players playing both. I guess you do like sometimes, but I have a couple friends that just play 14 and they don't like to play WoW. And same with WoW. I have a lot of WoW players that
it's what
don't.
you invest in.
Yeah.
We're all invested in WoW. And you
I don't
put
know.
so much
Every
time
time it's 14 expansion comes out, I'll fucking play that for the next 2 months, kind of thing.
I wish everyone
I know.
was more invested, but I don't blame them.
I know.
It's a huge.
It's hard. I think the story part is.
Because I really think raiding could be fun in that game.
No, it definitely is. I really enjoy the combat. It's super fun, even if it's just like pretty set in stone, I guess. It's like this is your rotation, but it's like how well you execute it. Where there's more RNG in WoW.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah. I find myself struggling to parse really well with rogue. I mean, it's different because I was raid leader and I'm calling shit out too, but yeah, it's very proc heavy. So when my shit doesn't proc or I'm just utilizing the cooldowns.
That's Marksman Hunter. I did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
Part of the reasons why I'm not playing right now.
Yeah. They buffed BM pretty well though to help get on par. Yeah.
I wish they did that earlier.
I think it just happened like 2 weeks ago. They gave him like a straight 5%.
Because that was that was like bottom tier.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Not as bad as Assassination. I guess Assassination sucked. Bad.
Yeah.
But
BM was that's my go-to spec.
That's my go-to spec. It's 4 buttons.
Yeah.
I remember I got my ex into the game and I'm like, I was just like, what do you think you want to play? And she's like, this one's got the animals in it. I'm like, all right. And like I looked up the BM rotation and it was like it is only like 3-4 buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh my god, we joked about it for years, but it really is.
Yeah. Well, I liked it. It was so much more movement.
Yeah.
Way better in movement type situations.
Than Marksman, than the
Marksman.
Well, that's because you don't play caster, so I understand that.
I don't. Marksman, it's tough. It's how the fights are. You're literally standing in something.
Yeah.
All the time.
I can't vouch for how a caster works. I don't do it. So I wanted to ask you just because we did just bring up a slew of MMOs. Did you play Wildstar with us? Did you play Wildstar?
Oh yeah.
What did you play in Wildstar? Oh, that's right, because I do remember you fucking loved the hunt or the housing. That's right. You had a badass house.
Oh yeah, that was the whole. They really outdid themselves.
I fucking liked Wildstar a lot. I did
too. It's really a shame it didn't catch on.
I think this is like this statement right here. I'm gonna say can be tied to any MMO that has failed. It says, I really liked X, but they really dropped the ball on Y.
Yeah. Maybe they focused on one part of the game, and unfortunately, another part suffered.
Did you max out in Wildstar?
Yeah, I had a gunslinger.
And you did
which was
get to
pretty
the
fun.
end. The
Yep. Mhm.
two things for Wildstar I think is the attunement and gearing up was so awful. Like you had to do like the adventures and the dungeons, and if you did not get gold, like you didn't get the good gear.
Mhm.
And then as soon as somebody fucked up and you saw that you weren't going to get gold, people left. So
Well,
it's
their whole shtick of the game was we are vanilla
the
WoW.
hardcore.
We're
Yeah,
bringing it back. Well, turns out that wasn't such a good idea.
yeah, yeah. That was
It
just
was it was actually a WoW developer
yeah, a
during
bunch of them.
a BlizzCon. He goes, "You think you like it, but you really don't."
Mm-hmm.
And,
That
and
was
people ripped him for saying that, and
yep.
he was
That was the president of
absolutely.
Blizzard. I was talking about Classic.
Oh,
Yeah,
he is now, right? Yeah, he is
yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you think you want Classic, but you don't know what
right?
you don't like what you want, and
Hmm.
turns out Classic was actually pretty successful. So
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anyone. I think it's
rumor
still pretty
has it that
successful.
they are thinking about possibly announcing Burning Crusade later this year to release later this year.
Yeah, I believe it.
Burning Crusade Classic, possibly.
Do you think they stop with that?
I have no idea.
Yeah. How far do you go? Do you go to
Exactly.
Wrath?
Like that
Where
exactly.
do you
I have
stop when you?
no idea. Like you do classic and I there's a bunch of videos and just discussions talking about it cuz they released Nax. Nax came out like a week after
Mhm.
like 3 days before Castle Nathria came out or 3 days after or something. It was a really weird time schedule. Like why wouldn't you spread out? Like you're
Yeah.
making competition for yourself. um
Hmm.
but yeah, you bring up BC, and I think a lot of people would like that. But then a lot of people just want to do classic, and then what do? Do you have to level up again, or do you transfer your character? But then what happens to your classic character, and then where do you stop? Like,
Yeah, I think actually Blizzard themselves have talked about what they were gonna do. Like you could just port your character and
right,
start at level 60, 58, whatever,
right,
and that would be easy to do.
yeah. I would like to play that. I have more nostalgia for that too, and I would like to
I
do
would
Wrath
I
too.
would try
But
that. Yeah, I would try a BC reboot more than a
yeah,
vanilla. I
uh,
had no interest in a vanilla
Shane
experience.
and I played it for a while. I actually was really digging it. Him and I were just going through it, and the pace is so much slower, so we were
Yeah,
just kind of chilling.
but
Um,
I mean, as far as like PvP and everything was a
yeah,
big thing at BC too. I mean,
yep.
yeah, I'd probably try it.
But
And then, what
then
do you stop at BC?
exactly, I don't
Do you,
know what you do.
I
I
think I think they would.
I would like to do the WoW or the Wrath stuff in content again, but I don't think I have any desire really to play through. I don't have like the nostalgia of like leveling up through the zones of Wrath
Yeah,
as
see,
much as
I don't think I would do Wrath again.
yeah,
Just because we lived it, we did it all.
yeah.
Um,
So
a BC, yeah, I could maybe see myself doing that.
hmm. Yeah, I have no idea. Because then, yeah, you could easily justifiably be like, all right, well, are they just what about Cataclysm next?
Yeah,
Cataclysm done right, like no
yeah,
LFR. And I think that's a lot of it was just like no looking for group, no LFR. And
hmm,
I think that's what people are just really liking about like um playing classic and stuff like that is like you just
yeah,
get all the old systems, so there is more of a community thing feel to it.
yeah.
So
And BC still had all that old systems.
yep. I mean they had looking for group maybe I don't
No,
know.
that was in Wrath.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, that started in Wrath.
Yeah, I don't remember because I do remember getting into the guild
Mm-hmm.
in BC, and that's probably it too, just to find people to play with. And now it's like you don't even need to be in a guild or anything really that for any bonuses. Like you can just
Hmm.
search and play with strangers the entire time if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, they took the community out of the
Yeah.
game. I don't know, but
I mean, half the people like Jared and Amy and Trevor are all on different servers, but it doesn't stop us from playing together, which is great. Like that part's
Yeah,
great.
that was a good addition. Yeah.
But you don't need to have a guild to do it.
No.
But yeah, how do you rebuild that community that once you put in those systems,
Mm-hmm.
like how do you re-incentivize talking to strangers?
I don't think you can.
Yeah. Because you don't want to. Like,
Yeah.
you join in I mean, this is gonna sound different, but like you join in a Counter-Strike game, it's like I don't want to listen to you guys. Sometimes you do, because it's
Mm-hmm.
just a bunch of stupid stuff going on. And that's funny in its own right. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you play with a handful of your friends, most of the time you just don't want to listen to the other people. How many times are you gonna strike up a conversation playing League with like random people?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know like back in the day there was you play whatever on fucking Xbox Live or whatever. I remember making some friends because it was just like we would play something and be like, oh sweet, you guys want to party up?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just because we have our own group and our own niche now.
Well,
But
I think well, like look at how many other chat services and communities there are now.
yeah.
Everyone's in a Discord or
Mm-hmm.
the old Curse now, or I mean, back then it was just kind of Ventrilo, but no one really used that often. So you use the in-game communities, you know, chatting in a Counter-Strike match and meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I met a lot of people
Yeah. I've
on
have
my Steam friends list.
yeah. I
It's,
remember meeting a bunch of friends too on a bunch of like my PlayStation and my old Xbox like account and stuff like that. Yeah. There's a lot
yeah,
of people that was just like we'd play and hey, you guys want to fucking party up? And then we
yeah,
played like the rest of the night and just friend requests, and then we'll do it again tomorrow.
yeah. I mean, God, I probably have over 100 people on my Steam friends list,
Yeah.
just who I used to play with.
Mm-hmm.
TF2 and Counter-Strike and
Yeah. It makes me wonder if it just doesn't. I'm trying to like separate myself uh from this equation and wondering if it's just me personally or if it's just how gaming and social interaction in gaming has evolved. Like has it just gotten to the point where people don't talk to each other, or maybe people just still
I
do
think
that
it's
just as
I think
much?
it's I think if anything it's kind of
Yeah,
devolved. I
yeah.
think
Or maybe
a
that's
lot of
just us. Maybe it's just us because we have our own friend groups that we do play our games with.
yeah.
Like that's what I'm trying to like separate myself from.
Mhm.
Is it just us, or has it like devolved from that?
I don't think I think everyone's just kind of got their own niche group that they play
Yeah,
with.
I would not
Um
be surprised.
and I kind of I always me and Shane always kind of talk about this. I wish there was that MMO where you can get so involved in it, into the world, you know, hopefully in our lifetimes we have that like a Ready Player One type experience for in the movie.
Right.
Did you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
I
I've
I
seen.
hope in our lifetime we can have that type of interaction with people,
Right.
whether
And
it's VR or like a Sword Art
yeah,
Online type world, or
I think we're a little bit off of it, but I don't
Oh
doubt
yeah.
that we'd be able to do something like that eventually.
Hmm.
But I think this actually capstones this a lot because we started off talking about how community got us actually talking in the first
Right.
place.
Yep.
And we just kind of circled back on that on its own. I didn't
Yeah.
write this shit down at all. It just kind
See
of
how
came
it-
up.
see how that works?
Yeah, it just worked out
Just
perfectly.
yeah.
I think that's the conversation, just going like, "Hey guys, this is a beautiful ending."
Hmm.
So let's wrap this shit up for right now. You don't have shit for social media for me to tag you to, do you? That you want me to plug you at?
Not really.
All right,
Yeah.
that's cool. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, we'll definitely we'll have to come back. We'll do another one that maybe we'll talk about community and start from there again.
It would
So
actually would be neat to have like maybe multiple people too, and
yeah, I think we'll that's
I'm sure
probably
you will
gonna
eventually.
that's I have a list of different guests and potential guests, and yeah, I think some group discussion is probably in March, might be on the horizon then, so
Okay, yeah.
stay tuned. All right. But yeah, thanks again for coming on.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
yeah, I will catch you guys all later. Bye.